Hello, OMSD students. Mr. Silva here with a quick video on how to put together your saxophone. Now, assembling an instrument is something that needs to be practiced. And one of the best things that you can do, aside from watching this video, is also looking in your essential elements book in the first few pages on how to put your instrument together. You can also watch other videos that you find over the internet, of course, with your parents' permission. Now, let's talk about the instrument and how we put it together. So you'll see here that I have my alto saxophone case sitting on the table. Now, before you open up your saxophone case, you want to make sure that you are opening up your case in a safe place. Now, the number one and best place to open up your case is on the floor, where it can't fall off of a place. The other place would be on a safe and secure table, such as what I have here. Now, the next thing you want to do is make sure that you have the case upright, or at least facing in the right direction. Okay, so we definitely do not want to open up an instrument case like this. Otherwise, parts are going to fall all over the place, and then you'll damage your instrument. You want to make sure that it's right side up, and the best way to determine that is by looking for the name brand. So my name brand of my case is right over here. For some of you guys, it'll be in the middle, and for some, your name brand might be in the front or on the side of the case. Now, the best way to know if you have it right side up is if you can read the name brand of your case, then your case is right side up. Okay, otherwise look for it on the top, and then you'll know. So next step, once you have a secure place to open up your instrument, is to open up the case, undo the latches, whether it's a zip or a latch, like metal latches I have here. Open up your case. Now, the saxophone has several different parts. The main part is the body of the instrument. And then we have the saxophone neck, and then the mouthpiece, the reed, and the neck strap. Now, there are a couple other little pieces that go along with the instrument that have really nothing to do with the instrument and how we play it. But these are essential to storing your instrument and keeping it in really good repair. All right, so what's the first thing we do in assembling our instrument? First thing we do is we grab the reed, and this is going to go in your mouth. It's very important that we soak this reed so that it is in its optimal, in its best condition for playing. And the reeds need to have a little bit of moisture. They need to be wet a little bit for them to vibrate properly. So this goes in your mouth. Now, just make sure that you're aware of this while you are assembling your instrument, so don't get caught up talking to somebody, your neighbor, your sibling, or your parents. The worst thing you want to do is start chewing on this thing, right? Because this thing is going to break. This is the most delicate part of the saxophone. And this is the part that wears out over time anyway, but it's also really easy to break it, chip it, if we're not paying attention. All right, so as this is soaking, and I'm going to set mine down here so I can speak to you. As this is soaking, you're going to put the rest of your instrument together. Now, once again, this is best done while you're not distracted. So you really want to concentrate on what you're doing as you're doing it. So you're going to grab the neck strap. The neck strap is an essential part of playing your saxophone. This is the part that helps distribute the weight of your instrument over your hands, right? And so we use a neck strap so that helps support your instrument, and it's not all on your fingers or your hands and your wrists. Now, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to grab the neck and the mouthpiece. Now, the mouthpiece is going to have a couple other little things with it. It'll have a ligature and then a mouthpiece cap. So this is the mouthpiece cap, which is designed to protect your reed while you're not playing the instrument. And then the ligature is what holds your reed in place as you play your saxophone. So you're going to take the ligature and the mouthpiece cap off. Just set them in the case somewhere. And now you're going to take the mouthpiece and you're going to put this on the cork side. Now, my cork cap is going to be wrapped right now, but yours is going to be cork looking, right? Kind of brown. And so you're going to push and twist just a little bit, right? You don't want to be spinning or screwing it in, right, really hard. So just go as far as you can get the mouthpiece on for now, right? Later on, we'll talk about how to make adjustments there. Now, how do you know which way is up on the mouthpiece, right? When it's on the neck. So this is what the neck's going to look like on the saxophone, the way it's going to be facing you. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to take that opening, if you can see the opening. Let me get some contrast there. There we go. I'm going to hold it to the side. So there's an opening right there. You're going to line this opening up with the hole here on the bottom. Now, notice that it's not, this is what it looks like from this side, but the bottom of the neck is here, or the underside of the neck is here. So you're going to line up the hole with the underside of the neck. The top of your mouthpiece is going to line up with the top part of the neck. And notice that I have an emblem here for the brand of my instrument. Okay, so that's where the hole is going to go. All right. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to attach this part, right, to the body of the instrument. So we grab the body of the instrument and we get the end of our neck strap, which has the hook on it. And we're going to connect that to the little loop or little eyelet here where the neck strap goes, right, just like that. Later on, we'll adjust this part here. Okay, now your saxophone should have an end cap on it. Okay, this is a very important part of your saxophone that has nothing to do with playing it. It has everything to do with protecting the instrument while it's in its case and as you transport it. Okay, so we're going to take off the end cap here, and we're going to put this in the case. Be sure not to lose this part. This is a very important part of your saxophone. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take the neck and we're going to take this end and match it to the socket end here of the saxophone, the top part. Now, we want to be very careful here that we loosen the screw for the neck socket here. Okay, so loosen it just a little bit, not too much that you end up losing the screws. You don't want to lose these screws. These are really important. Now, the socket or the neck goes into the socket with a slight little twist and push. That's pretty much it. Now, we never want to go round and around with this thing. We don't want to go and twist it around this way at all. So we want to match it straight on. I'm going to show you from the side how this lines up. I'll show you from the back how it lines up. Okay, now, again, be sure that you're paying attention while putting stuff together. You do not want to end up with this, all right? So this is a big no-no. Okay, this is what it should look like. Now, once you have the neck in the socket, just tighten up your screw to the point where it just stops. Don't over-tighten. These screws can snap if you go a little too crazy with it. All right, so we're almost there. We have a couple other little things to do on this thing. We're going to take the ligature. This is the part that holds your reed. That goes over and on your mouthpiece. Now, the ligatures come in all different types and are made out of different materials. Now, if you have a ligature that has one screw, typically those screws are going to go on top of your mouthpiece here. Okay. If you have two screws, typically they go on the bottom. Now, I do say typically because I do have a ligature that has two screws on it, but these are going to go on top. The ligatures that most of all of you who are going to learn how to play saxophone get are going to be used with the screws on the bottom. Now, the best thing to do is just to take a look at how the ligature fits on the mouthpiece. Now I'm going to get up a little bit closer to the camera so you can see how this looks. Now the mouthpiece has a taper that looks like this. It tapers to the tip and it gets wider towards the part where it connects to the neck. Okay, your ligature does the same thing. It has a similar shape. So it's kind of like a cone and it's going this way or that way, right? So you have this cone. Now it's a little less noticeable when I hold it up. It almost looks like a tube. But what you want to do is follow that shape. I'm going to show you something because you'll be able to tell when you don't have it on right. If I put it in upside down, look what happens to my ligature. It looks like this on the mouthpiece. And so here, you know that it's not on the right way. So what you have to do is just flip it over and set it on. Okay. Now, as far as the screws up or the screws down thing, you'll just have to see how the ligature looks like where, you know, on either the top or the bottom side of it here to see whether or not it's supposed to go screws up or screws down. Okay, so just follow the shape of it and that should tell you. So these are little tiny things to pay attention to as you are assembling your saxophone. Now, finally, what we're going to do is attach the reed. Now, for the purposes of showing you guys how to do this, I'm going to take the neck off so I can flip things around easier. Okay. Now, notice that we have the ligature on first. Now, this is an important step, and this also helps prevent any damage to the reed. So what I like to do is I hold the neck and the mouthpiece while it's on the instrument like this, and then I push up the ligature with my fingers like this. Okay, just kind of raise it up. All right, and then I stick the reed here in between the ligature and the mouthpiece. Now, things that should line up. The flat part of the reed. So I'm going to hold this like this. You'll notice that there's a flat part and then the top part, which is round. So the flat part of the reed matches the flat part of the mouthpiece here. Now, you'll know if you have it on wrong if it looks like this. Okay, there's too much space. So you know you have it right when it looks like this. All right, so flat part of the reed to the flat part of the mouthpiece. Now, the flat part of your reed is what we call the table. We all know that tables are flat. The flat part of your mouthpiece is also called the table. So you match your table to your table. Just like that. Okay, now remember that your ligature goes on first, and then your reed goes on next. So you just slide that ligature up a little bit, and then what you want to do is just line things up. You want to get the top part here lined up where your screws are in the middle of your mouthpiece on the top. Okay, and then you want to line up the edges of your reed so that they're even on both sides. So we don't want it sticking out too much on this side or that side. The other thing we're going to line up is the tip of the mouthpiece. Now let me just get this one a little bit better lined up. And I'm going to show you here. Now you'll notice that the curved part of the reed lines up with the curved part of the mouthpiece up at the top. And I like to see just a little black line up at the top, curvy line of the mouthpiece. Right? And that's when you know that it's on the right way. Now, once you have it all set up, you're just going to tighten your screws a little bit. And remember, do not over tighten because this can easily, cause damage to the ligature. You can snap a screw or you can break it from the side. So just enough tightening so that it doesn't come off. All right. So that is pretty much it. Now, when it's time to put away your instrument, you're going to do everything I just showed you in reverse. Okay, so if the reed was first going in your mouth, right, it's going to be the last thing that you take care of. So though you do it in reverse, reed came on last, take it off, that goes in your mouth while everything else is being put away, and then secure your reed. All right, so if you have questions on your instrument assembly, you can re-watch this video. You can talk to your band teacher, or you can look in your Essential Elements book in the first few pages to look at how you should assemble your instrument. All right, guys, good luck with it, and have fun.